Are you struggling to progress in campaign? Are you stuck on low-level dungeons? Are you wondering why you can't dominate enemy teams in the arena? What's up, I'm Kael, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to get those easy dubs using a god tier champion that everyone has access to. Okay, so the champion I'm talking about is Kael. This guy is one of the starters, and I'm really excited to showcase him on my free-to-play account in this super realistic build. At the time I ranked him up, I didn't have enough potions to fully ascend him, and I still didn't have an amulet or a banner for him. That doesn't matter, because the stat boost that Kael gets from getting to level 60 is big. Now, because I bought his Masteries with gems I saved, as soon as I got him to level 60, I was able to unlock his tier 6 Mastery, which I'll go into later in the video. Let's jump into campaign to see if I can finally solo stage 12-3 in Brutal. The reason why being able to solo stage 12-3 in Brutal campaign is so pivotal for an account is because this is the most efficient stage in campaign to level up champions, all while gaining a ton of silver. So as we can see here, there is absolutely no danger of Kael losing a round. So let's see what he can do in the potion keeps. The Arcane Guardian is a straightforward boss to beat. A couple of helpful tips to defeat this boss are to ensure your team has buffs active when he attacks. This mitigates 75% of his damage, and you should prioritize the minion on the right because this minion has the ability to remove all of your buffs, leaving you vulnerable. The boss can also place increased defense and increased speed on himself, so if you have a buff stripper on your team, this will speed things up significantly. I clearly don't have a buff stripper, but I have got some very useful debuffs on him, like decreased defense, which makes him a bit weaker, decreased speed, which slows him down, and the leech from Deacon helps top my champions up with health. At the start here, you can see that I was up to stage 9, and now I can solo stage 12. This is amazing. So now I can farm potions while leveling up 4 other champions at once. Let's go check out the Force Keep. Now I need to note here that Kael is weak affinity, and so is basically the rest of my team, so I'll be happy with any level of progression. This boss is a little bit more difficult as well. He has a high defense, he can also land a decreased attack debuff on your team, and he has a 50% chance to stun your team as well. So in order to defeat the Force Guardian efficiently, you need to be able to cleanse the decreased attack from your team. Being able to remove his increased defense will help significantly as well. Kael was able to solo stage 8, and I'm basically really happy with that. I'm not going to push my luck too much on this dungeon. If I really wanted to, I could duo this keep with Deacon because he brings an AoE drop defense. Now let's see how far I can get in Minotaur. Minotaur's Labyrinth is where you'll go to farm Masteries. This dungeon goes all the way up to stage 15, and to be completely honest, it's not really worth farming unless you're actually up to stage 15. Now this is my personal preference, but I would rather save up enough gems to buy Masteries until I was actually able to farm stage 15, because it's just so time and energy consuming. The Minotaur is a very straightforward boss to defeat. He starts off the round with a rage buff that increases his attack significantly, but also makes him susceptible to receiving more damage. He can also land hex debuffs, and when dealing damage to enemies under hex debuffs, he will do even more damage. My only real advice for defeating him are to bring your standard dungeon team that can mitigate damage with buffs such as shields, ally protect, increased defense or strengthen. You also want to decrease defense on the boss to speed things up a little. These tips are just nice to have and not really necessary. Now let's quickly talk about why we're actually here, and that is to farm Mastery Scrolls for your champions. Now in an ideal world, you'll have one champion that can solo this dungeon, and you'll have 4 champions that you'll be farming Masteries for simultaneously. In the early game, if you need to bring 2 or 3 champions to defeat the dungeon while only farming Masteries for 1 or 2 champions, then this is completely fine. Unfortunately, I was unable to defeat stage 12, but this is Kael's weak affinity. Hopefully with an amulet and a banner, I should be able to push level 15. Now let's dive into one of the more challenging dungeons, the Ice Golem's Peak. The Ice Golem's Peak is one of the first dungeons you'll come to start farming armor, Now I don't want to go too much into detail on how to defeat every dungeon boss, But I do want to note that Kael has very low accuracy at the moment, meaning that he is missing out on a ton of damage from his poisons. And he will be copping a heal reduction debuff most of the time, which renders his lifesteal gear useless while it is active, which is crazy annoying. So I'm on stage 10 here, and it looks like I'll get the clear in under a minute with absolutely no issues whatsoever. Damn, I love this guy. Okay, let's check out Dragon. Starting things off on stage 10, fast forward to now, and here we are soloing stage 13. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't quite able to withstand the Dragon's final scorch, but I was able to solo stage 12, which I am super happy with. I really hope that you guys are starting to understand why it is such a big achievement for your account to get its first level 60. Okay, cool. Now let's go check out the Spider's Den. Okay, so the Spider's Den. This is where I need to be to get rings, banners, and amulets. So I had absolutely no dramas with stage 9, but now I'm on stage 10. This is going to be huge for my account if I can take this stage down. So I managed to do stage 10, but with a very low confidence in consistency in just over 4 minutes. My team definitely needs some fine tuning, and hopefully I can speed that up significantly so I can start farming for better jewelry pieces. I really had my fingers crossed for a crit damage amulet and an accuracy banner for Kael. This will make him unstoppable. Okay, so you can see that having one level 60 has helped me progress in every dungeon by multiple levels. So let's go check out Kael's build. So as you can see here, I've used a 4-piece lifesteal set and a 2-piece offense set. My goal while putting this build together was to try and get 100% crit rate and around 170 speed. Now, accuracy is also going to be king with Kael because of his poisons on his A3 and his A1. But this is something I'll work on improving as I acquire better gear. So I've gone with speed on the boots and rolls into crit rate, attack percent on the chest with speed and crit rate rolls. As a mid to late game build, I would have gone with crit damage on the gloves and tried to get enough crit rate from the substats, but it's just not possible with early game armor. So I had to try and get the bulk of my crit rate from the gloves. I did get lucky with a triple roll on attack, which I am really stoked about. I got rolls in crit rate and crit damage on the shield, more attack, speed, and crit on the helmet, and I got some speed, attack, and a tiny bit of accuracy on the weapon. Optimally, on the necklace, I would go with crit damage with accuracy substat, and I would go for an accuracy banner with a speed substat. So, in order to do that, I basically just need to farm Spider, and this is going to be my life for a little while. That's just the reality. The ring hasn't really got much going on, so it won't be too hard to upgrade that either. So just having a quick look at his overall stats here, and I've got almost 3k on attack, which is pretty good for an early game build. I've got 173 speed, which should be enough for bronze and silver arena to make sure that he gets his turn in the correct order. Now with 90% crit rate, he will crit 9 out of 10 times with his A3 and his A1, but Kael's big AoE attack actually has a 15% chance to crit. So he is actually crit capped for this, which I am super pleased about, and you will absolutely see why when I take him into the arena. Lastly, his accuracy is an absolute dismal 28. This is acceptable for landing debuffs in a level 2 or 3 dungeon, but if I want to be landing debuffs in a level 10 plus dungeon, this needs to be significantly higher at around 150 plus. And this isn't achievable quite yet, unless I'm sacrificing other stats, and I don't want to do that. For the Masteries, I've gone down the offense tree, picking up Deadly Precision for extra crit rate, Heart of Glory so that he does more damage when going first on my arena team, Keen Strike for more crit damage, Whirlwind of Death so that he gains speed when he kills enemies, Ruthless Ambush so he does even more damage when going first, Wrath of the Slain, which gives him more damage when soloing dungeons, Bring It Down does more damage to most enemies because I built him quite squishy, Kill Streak, which increases his damage for each enemy killed, Methodical, which boosts the damage output of his A1, and finally, War Master for the extra damage. Not quite as useful for the arena, but is great for dungeon bosses as they have massive health pools. If I was building him with more of an arena mindset, I would have gone with Helm Smasher. Now down the support tree, I've gone with Pinpoint Accuracy, Charged Focus, and Swarm Smiter to boost his accuracy stats, Lore of Steel to boost the stats from artifact sets, which quite frankly isn't doing much for him with the current sets that he has equipped, and finally Spirit Haste, which boosts his speed when soloing content. Okay, here we are in Silver Arena, and Kael is about to put in a ton of work as I easily defeat teams I was not confident in defeating before. So I've got Deacon in the lead, dropping turn meter of the baddies and boosting my team's turn meter to ensure we go first. Then with his extra turn, he drops defense. Kael nukes with his A2. Renegade resets their abilities so they can do all that again, and it is a fat GG easy. Alright, let's see that again. So we've got turn meter boost, drop defense, and nuke. Now a couple of things I need to add here are that Deacon needs to be ascended to level 3 to be able to gain the extra turn for his drop defense. Deacon's abilities haven't been booked yet either, so he only actually has an 80% chance of dropping their defense as well. I have Greybeard here on the team to CC the enemy just in case I don't nuke them down on the first round. Now, something I want to add, and this makes Kael so awesome in the arena as well, is that he gains turn meter for every enemy he kills with his A2. So with Renegade's reset, sometimes he gets a chance to nuke the enemy twice in a row with his A2 before they even get a turn. Now, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? A level 50 Duchess on a silver arena team? Now this might be a little bit controversial, but I personally believe that Duchess is the best champion in this game. I have her on my main account and there aren't many places where I actually don't use her. This isn't actually the first team I come across with a Duchess, and you can probably imagine my level of hesitation when facing her, but I wanted to really show you what a properly built Kael, along with a good arena setup, is actually capable of. To conclude the video, I'm going to play out the rest of today's arena battles at a 2x speed, and I'm sure you'll be blown away with the amount of OP legendaries that I actually come across. Is this weird, or is it just me? Thank you so much for watching this far. I hope that you've gained some value out of today's video. Thanks again for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions that this video left unanswered, please comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.